In today's video, we're going to talk about what happens if you are hit by a commercial vehicle. Now in Nevada, the minimum insurance policy for bodily injury is $25,000 per person and $50,000 per accident. But what happens if you're injured by a commercial vehicle? Now there's nothing in Nevada that requires them to have more than the minimum coverage, but oftentimes you'll see them do. Commercial vehicles or vehicles owned by companies or employers typically do carry larger insurance policies. A truck carrying freight or property actually has to have $750,000 in coverage pursuant to the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Additionally, a passenger bus or shuttle with 15 or less seats actually has to have $5 million in coverage. And typically, these companies that own a vehicle, if their employee was working at the time of the accident, they're at fault. They're responsible for it. So even if they do have the minimum coverage, typically you'll see an excess or umbrella coverage. You'll see higher limits beyond the minimum. Excess or umbrella is exactly that if you exhaust that smaller coverage, there's another level of protection. There's additional insurance there that will cover you if you exceed that smaller policy. So think about it. Why do we have these minimums, through federal acts for trucks carrying freight or buses carrying people? Because the damages are typically high. These trucks that are carrying property, a lot of times across state lines, you've seen them on the road. That property could be steel, it could be, thousands of pounds, and these trucks are huge. That alone can cause significant damages if they're going at a low speed. Same thing with these shuttle buses. Typically they're carrying multiple passengers. They're big vehicles. A lot of times they don't have seat belts or people aren't strapped in. It wouldn't make sense for them to just have a minimum policy, and actually federal law requires them to have bigger policies. And this ensures that if you're injured by one of these vehicles, that you're not screwed over at the end of the day, that there should be enough coverage for you to get the treatment that you need. This uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage isn't required in Nevada. You can elect to get it, and it's always nice to have. So the uninsured means person driving doesn't have insurance, maybe they hit and run and you don't even get their information. Underinsured can come into a policy like in a commercial vehicle. Let's just say there is 1 million available, but there's multiple people affected by it. That million, may not be enough. Doesn't matter what the policy is. Imagine if you needed surgery or other people needed surgeries. If that policy is exhausted, your own underinsured motorist coverage can come into play even if you're not driving in your own vehicle. So that's why it's always important to get that extra coverage where you'll have additional protections no matter where you are. So it's great that some of these commercial vehicles are required to have minimum coverages, but still it's important to have your own additional protections in case you are hit by one of them or by somebody else. That's where uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage comes into play. Here at Kaplan Law Group, we leave no stone unturned. We will find every applicable insurance policy available and make sure that we know how much coverage is available to you if you are hit by a commercial vehicle. If you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call.